this lesson is going to demonstrate how to use a variety of tools using Pixlr. So go ahead and Google Pixlr, open up the editor. When this window loads, say Open Photo Editor. I have an image on my computer, so I will open Image from Computer. So locate the image that you want to edit, and the first thing I'm going to want to do is I want to make this a square because I'm going to be doing before and after pictures, and they happen to be shaped like squares. So I will choose the rectangular marquee. I'm going to go ahead and choose fixed size. In the fixed size, I will change the larger to the smaller number to make it a square. I will then click down, move the marquee, and then I will choose Image Crop. Now that that is cropped, I will choose File, Save. We'll call this one Woman 1, set it to 100% in quality, say OK, and then save it in a safe location. Once that's saved, I'm ready to start making changes. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and you might have images where you have some imperfections that you might want to clean up using different tools. So for example, this blemish here, you could use what's called the stamp tool. So go ahead and click on the stamp tool, and you can see what the brush is going to look like. You might need to experiment. You can always come up here and change the brush size. And then what you want to do is click on the Control key and pick up the color close to that blemish and start painting. You see how I'm clicking up? I'm picking up the color around it. So that got rid of that blemish. You can use what's called the Spot Healing tool. If she had freckles, all you would do is just click on it. And if that doesn't work, then try something else. Let's go ahead and view actual pixels so we can see what we've done so far. So I've removed a few blemishes. You might want to really play around with this till you understand the tools and get comfortable with them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little rouge to her cheeks to redden them up a bit. So you want to go to the Layers window and you want to click on the New Layer option. Definitely have to do this on a new layer. Then I chose the paintbrush, and I'm going to choose a brush like 100. You're going to have to experiment with this with soft edges. And with the color red, I changed the opacity to 14 at the top. Do you see that? And now I'm just going to barely brush so she has a little rouge there. Give her some rosy cheeks. And if that's too much, you can always go to that Layers window and change it so it's a little more opacity. So you can change that too if you did too much. That's an option. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to create another layer. I think that's extra. I'm going to create another layer for her eyes, and I might pick the color green for green eyeshadow. Say OK, and then again you can go to the paintbrush, change the paintbrush size, keep the opacity. You can always experiment, and then come in and just barely just brush in here for the eyeshadow. And if you make a mistake, let's say you go out and you didn't want that, you would just go to the eraser tool then to clean that up. So now she has some eyeshadow. Now I'm going to go up to the brush again. I'm going to click on that little drop down arrow, and I'm going to say I want more brushes. You can load some really interesting brushes. So I'm going to click down where it says Artistic and choose Makeup, and I will click on Eyelashes, and it will load them. I'll say Add, and it will load the eyelashes. So before you add one of the eyelashes, you want to make a new layer again. So go to the Layers window and add a new layer. Go back and grab one of the eyelashes, and notice how huge that is. So you can change the diameter so it's roughly the size that you want. So I'm going to go ahead, and before I do that though, I should have changed the color to black. Make sure it's black in the window. Now I'll click down, and the opacity was a bit light, so I'll go to trash that and show you what it looks like if I change the opacity of that brush to something really strong. Now I'll use the Move tool to move it, and that actually looks wonderful. If you made the brush too big, you could be on that layer. Let me close it so you can see what's going on. So it's a layer 9 that has the eyelash. You could do Control T and hold the Shift key while you make it smaller by dragging from a corner towards the center and then hitting the Enter key. And then once you're there, you could right click and say Duplicate Layer, and then we'll go ahead and move that one over here. You're going to want to flip that eyelash by going to Layer, Flip Layer Horizontal. If you ever needed to rotate, you would do Control T, and do you see the little arrow in the corner? That allows you to rotate it if you need to. Once you're happy with that rotation, you can click on the Enter key. After viewing actual pixels, this is what I have so far. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I might put a little lipstick on her. So I'll go ahead and zoom in, and I'm going to make a new layer again. And I'm going to go ahead and take the lasso tool. You could actually paint it. You can take the paintbrush. Make sure you pick the right kind of brush. That's too big. Take that brush and then I'm going to pick a color red maybe. Come in here and choose the color that you want. Say OK, and you might change the opacity, is what we have so far, and you could paint that in. Now if you go outside of her lips, not a biggie, because you can always use what tool to clean that up? If you said the eraser tool, you're absolutely correct. So I'm going to come in here, take the eraser. Notice that I have an eyelash for my eraser tool. Obviously I'm going to need to change that and start cleaning that up around her lips. If you make a mistake, you can always go back between brushes, painting, or using the eraser tool. Let's go ahead and view actual pixels to see what we have so far. Now I'm thinking that that lipstick is a bit dark. I need to go to her corner here. You could always again change the opacity so it's not so dark. Show you before and after. So this is what we have. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I'm pretty content with my results. So I'll choose File, Save, and I'll call this one Woman 2, set it to 100%, say OK, and then I will save it in a safe location on my computer. Until next time, you have a fabulous day.